Welcome to the Pog Show. I'm your host, Christine Martindale, Public Information Officer for the City of Port Orange, a city in Central Florida that is unique by choice, not by chance. I will be bringing you powerful interviews and on-the-go info to gain a better understanding of the various services and functions our city provides. So let's get started. Hello everyone to episode 003 of the Pog Show. This week, from October 19th through the 25th, the City of Port Orange will celebrate Florida City Government Week. The purpose of this episode is to bring awareness about the importance of municipal government and its impact on residents. Because city government is the government closest to most citizens and the one with the most direct daily impact upon its residents, it's important that residents understand how their city operates, the services it provides, and the importance of their active involvement. The theme behind Florida City Government Week is, My City, I'm part of it, I'm proud of it. Florida City Government Week is sponsored by the Florida League of Cities, which is the official organization of municipal governments in Florida. One of the ways the City of Port Orange is celebrating Florida City Government Week is through our Citizens Academy, Port Orange University. Port Orange University is a 9-week program held on Monday evenings for about 2 hours where citizens learn about a particular city department each week. And this year, we have entered into our 4th year. It's one of the favorite parts of my job, getting to know citizens year after year as they get to know more about our city. So to talk about Port Orange University a little bit more in detail, I've taken it a step further, and I have in the podcast studio with me a participant from this year's Port Orange University class, Kat Atwood. Hi, Kat.
Hi, good morning.
Good. It's so nice to have you here, and thank you for joining me here.
Thank you for having me.
So as I've said, facilitating Port Orange University has been one of the favorite and most rewarding parts of my job. It's establishing relationships with citizens and educating them. It's really been great. So how long have you been a resident of Port Orange?
We moved back here in 2014, so 6 years that we've been in this house in Port Orange.
And so what do you do? Are you retired?
I'm totally retired. My husband and I are both retired from the Navy, and we decided to come back here after retirement. I grew up in Orange City, DeLand High School graduate, back when there were many fewer high schools than there are now. And so we were bussed in from Orange City and went to DeLand High. Right after graduation, I actually left and went in the Navy and met him in the Navy. And came
here
back
you are.
Here we are.
And so what was your purpose in participating in Port Orange University?
I really wanted to get to know more of the details of how the city runs. There are parks that I walk in and run in every day. There are people that I see every day out in city vehicles that we speak to and wave to. And I never really knew the backstory of what those departments did. And when I read about this opportunity, I was like all over it. And now I just can't stop talking about it. I hope that, I know it's an annual event for you. I would love to see it more frequently than that because I have several friends that are residents here, longtime residents, that have no idea of some of the things that I've learned and shared with them. I think it would be a wonderful opportunity.
You know, you're not the first person to say that, so we started, this our 4th year. I can't believe how fast this class has gone by, but when I started it, it's going to be a once-a-year thing, and right now it currently is, but now that I've got the foundation down, I probably could get another class because to be honest, it's not hard to fill. It's by word of mouth,
yeah.
Right? Referrals, very, very simple. So you never know. I may have a spring. Right now it's held in the fall, but you never know. I may hold a spring session.
I think that would be overwhelmingly successful.
And so the department heads really enjoy it too. In the beginning, they were like, okay, but they get into it as much as
they're fun. They all keep the audience engaged, the students engaged, and I mean it's been fun, and it has gone by very quickly. I can't believe we're already talking about the end of it.
Exactly. We're in session 8 this week, and with one session left, what do you think about the Citizens Academy so far? Like, is it what you expected it to be?
It's more than what I expected it to be, actually. I really expected more of a lecture student kind of mentality, and it's absolutely not that. There's a camaraderie in the students that are there. We've gotten to know neighbors some live very close to me that I never knew, and some that are from other neighborhoods further out, and how differently we approach some of the same situations. But the biggest takeaway I think has been is knowing the why the city does some of the things that they do. And it makes it easier now to go share that with other people. Like, why is waste management this way? Or why does this only pick up on that day? Or, so it's been great. I mean, it's been very informational, and it was more so than I even anticipated.
Right, and I think that's what a lot of people expect. They're like, oh, it's just going to be sitting down for 2 hours and listening to it. This year being COVID and all. To be honest, I don't even know if we were thinking about even having one this year, but, it was social distancing and mask wearing and things like that. We were able to still do it. Smaller class a little bit this year, but getting out there and seeing the water plant and seeing the water reclaim facility and taking a look at those areas, I think means so much, because a lot of people that I knew that been in Port Orange, 25, 26 years and had no idea certain little things, like you said.
Right.
How Waste Pro works and things like that. So I agree. It's more than just sitting there and listening to lectures. It's getting interactive.
And we had all the big tools show up. Was it Public Works that brought all them? That was all their toys. That was great.
I know.
You actually got to see something up close, and they are very proud of their equipment, which was really nice. They were happy to spend the time answering our questions, and and still, I have to applaud you. I mean, even with all the social distancing, we have suffered no less of a learning experience with this, and that's a wonderful thing for you to be able to take away from this.
Yeah, absolutely. If we can get through COVID like this, then nothing holding back.
How many students do you normally have?
I try to cap it at no more than 30 because of tours, right? And trying to have that closeness with citizens and all, and trying to answer everyone's question and all of that. I think it gets a little bit larger once you get into the 40, 50 range. It's hard to when you're conducting tours and all. It's very hard. So, we are less than 30, obviously, this year. We're ranging around 20 or so, 19, 20. But still, they're still getting a learning experience, and It's still just been, I've loved it. Like I said, it's one of the favorite parts of my job, because it's establishing relationships with the citizens, and they are our eyes and ears. Absolutely. We only can go so much, right? And communications, communicating with the newsletter or social media, I only can go so far, and so can department heads. But, you guys are the citizens, you can tell your neighbors, or if they're saying something, you can say, actually, no, that's not how that works.
I had that conversation last night. But yeah, you can. Now I'm able to speak intelligently on it, and not just what I think.
Right, and then going, I was wrong, and next thing you know, that's how things get started, and they're not, passing the right information down. So, what has been your favorite highlight so far about this program?
Wow, that's tough. I have really looked forward to every class and taken something great away from every class. I really enjoyed. I guess it was Public Works. Is that the one who came in and talked about the swales and the water? I think that was the one I took the most away from, to say, okay, so standing water is this and a flood is that. I mean, it was very informational. But there's one thing I want to say, just in case anybody's sitting back wanting to know. Most of this class I've been on a walker, and I want the citizens to know that they don't let them stop applying. I don't want them to hold back, because my safety was always first, my comfort was always paramount. And so if there are people who have a handicap or a disability, it's still no reason for them to miss out on this opportunity. So.
Yeah, and thanks for saying that too, because it's such a, people think, I've got a lot of walking and no, absolutely not. And we make sure that anyone can be a part of this. And, people think that, is it just for young ones? Like in our classes, we have everyone from millennials to older people to people who have been in Port Orange for years, new people who have moved into the city. So it's for everybody. In fact, we have two youths. We have two students in the class this year because they're going on into youth council, and they're learning a lot, and starting them young, and then they can pass on the correct information. So
I think that's phenomenal. In last night's class too, we had the young man that spoke last night I think he said he was 25, and already in a career with the city, and that's encouraging too, because you actually think, 20 years from now, am I going to see Mike? I think his name was. Are you gonna, if I'm going to see Mike running something, and think, gosh, I knew when he came into this.
That's city, right, or started as an intern in one department and moved on, and that's what the city of Port Orange is all about. People have just grown in this city, and so that's what this is all about, and I think of Port Orange, I've been in the city about 5-6 years now, but just the community and just the people here, family oriented, and so take advantage of this university. So do you feel that you now have a better understanding of how the city operates and the services it provides?
Absolutely. Absolutely. And before this ever even started, I had talked to Jake Johansson before and Mayor Burnett and about what can I do to be more involved. And, the right answer, and the answer I've always gotten is, get on councils, boards. And now I want to. Now I'm a little bit more hungry for it to get more involved. And if that is the result of even one person of every one of your classes, it's a success.
And actually, you read my mind. That was my next question. Do you have a better idea of how to get involved with our city government if you desire to get involved?
I absolutely do.
And
it's nice is that you have the technology in the class too, so people aren't having to sit there and take copious notes. First off, the next morning you send us an email with everything we saw the night before, which is wonderful. I mean, it's very convenient for us because you get to pay attention to what's being said and taught. But to watch somebody work the city website and show you exactly where you go from here to here and to see what boards are available, and that makes it that much easier to. I don't think I've left a class yet and not gone home and gotten on my computer and tried to replicate something I just saw, including last night with Aquahawk. There were things that I already have Aquahawk, but I didn't know I could get that specific in my alerts. So as soon as I got home, I was right online.
And so that brings up a point. Obviously, if you can't make each class, that's okay. We provide the information, like you said. But there's nothing better than being part of it visually and being part of the class.
Absolutely.
There's things that you miss, right? And so, like last night, they gave us a great tutorial on how to sign up for Aquahawk, the free alert system, how to pay your bill through Pamentis, so simple, and she did a step-by-step process on how to do that. Yes, there are links that we share afterward, but when you're in the class, it's just a different feel, a different vibe for sure.
One of the things that she shared last night, that 6 years I've been getting a bill from the city, never knew that there was a little block that had notes from the city on that bill. Never knew that. I get the bill, I look for the amount, and I file it. And so, it's just those little tiny things that you can take away. That was one of the first things I said when I got home last night. I was like, I pulled my bill. Oh, they do put notices on here, a little.
Right.
What's changed?
Yeah, like I said, it's just it's a overwhelming feel. And now in talking to you, I'm like, okay, I gotta start this another class in a year. Maybe do two a year for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Like I said, that's hasn't been a problem. It's time. It's not really time consuming anymore because, like I said, we've got the foundation down. But it's so rewarding when it's like, okay, we got another 9 weeks coming up, and then the classes go by so fast. Like, I can't believe we're almost at the end here.
And there's candy.
And, well, for the month of October, yes, I did do candy for October. We're actually, with Florida City Government Week, we're coming up with cakes. So always like to celebrate Florida Government Week. But it is an important week because, and I wanted to bring, I wanted to talk about Port Orange University at some point, but knowing that Florida City Government Week was coming up, I'm like, this is the perfect segue. This is the perfect topic to talk about this because it's so important. And if people are listening, and whether you're from a different city or I think it's just so valuable that every city should have something like this.
Absolutely agree. Ken and I were talking last night about it, and I said, for as many cities as we've lived in, and having even worked for a city after I retired, every city should have something like this because you can't just offer the website and expect your citizens, I think, to just go there naturally and gravitate towards it.
Right.
But once you give them a little taste of it, I have been all over the website in the last 8 weeks, trying to see, I didn't know that was there. One of the best things I found was at community development that gave us the interactive map on what that's amazing. And my parents, who are both in their 80s, God love them, and just had their 63rd anniversary yesterday.
Oh, happy anniversary.
Thank you. So the next day I went over and showed them that website, and that totally kept them busy for a couple hours because they're like, we're getting a Dairy Queen. I'm like, yeah. So
and that's been community development, with our GIS systems. Absolutely, and it's interactive, and it's live, and it's constant, and so, and that's something you wouldn't know about.
Never knew it was
right?
there.
And so, for community development to take that time to go through that, it's just valuable information that you can pass on to your neighbors and your friends, and so it's just helping to get the word out. It's just another avenue, kind of like this podcast. This is another avenue to get the information out, and so citizens really, when they say, well, we didn't know about it. Well, yeah, sometimes it's hard to reach 62,000 people. I get it. But if you can tap into a class like this, all I ask is that if people can attend all classes. I understand with vacation and whatnot, but it's so valuable to go through the program and be part of that. And you get shirts.
And you get a great shirt.
And you get a great polo shirt.
And you get a bag.
And you get a bag. And I try to make it where we're kind of like a family, and it's just establishing those relationships. And like you said, the first class, I wanted to make sure everyone knew where everyone was from in Port Orange. What district they were from. And I think that means a lot, because a lot of people, either from the west side of Port Orange or on beach side, I think it's great. And knowing what's coming up and what to expect, so I think it's very, very important. And so is there anything else that you would like to add about the program or about the city in general, or anything you want our listeners to know? Or
I love the city. I do hope you get a second class or even a quarterly class. And I'm not trying to put more responsibility on your desk, but I just think it was such a phenomenal wealth of information that if more citizens had access to it, I think that word would spread more. I know that in our class, when community development was there and they were talking about the town center part under the Dunlawton Bridge, a couple of people didn't know that was Port Orange. And so I thought that was interesting. It's like, how long have you lived here? And the one lady was here like 20 some odd years. And I'm like, okay, you should know that. We should know that. We should have information out like that. So I would love to see you do it.
Right, and people think going over the bridge, like, oh, you're out of it. But that down under area is so exciting, with Jimmy Hula's, and then you have that advertising agency they are talking about with the new brewery.
The new brewery coming in.
And so there's just so much, and people need to be aware of all that information.
Yeah.
So, but anyway, I just wanted to thank you, Kat, for taking the time to talk with me today.
Thank you for having me. It's been great.
This class wraps up on October 26th, and next year's class, actually, it'll be our 5th year. I don't know, maybe something special. Maybe I will introduce a second class, being at 5 years next year. But it will take place. We'll talk about whether we have a second class or not. But applications will be on the website, and they will make sure that everyone is notified. And so stay tuned for more information on that.
And it's free.
And it's free.
It's free.
It's free. There is absolutely no cost. Okay, gas to drive, right? But it's not just in one location. And so, and I make sure that people know it's free. You get a shirt. You get to learn more about your city and get to know more about citizens in Port Orange.
Absolutely.
I mean, how could it get any better than that, right?
That's right. That's right.
So, again, there are other ways that you can learn about our city. The best ways are through our city's website, www.port-orange.org, the city's Facebook page, Port Orange City Hall. We also have a quarterly newsletter. And, of course, this podcast, the Pog Show. So, again, this wraps up episode 003. Until next time. Thank you so much for spending time with me today on the Pog Show. We've only just begun, and with you sharing, subscribing, and leaving a 5-star review for this podcast is really going to help launch us to the next level together.